We have a brand new Mad Season video, and based on the looks of it, it's a full video, like not just running around talking, playing RuneScape, even though there's probably going to be some RuneScape in the video as well. But 20-minute Mad Season video. The title is When MMOs Are No Longer Fun. This one came out yesterday, by the way, so some chances are some of you guys might have seen it. I have not, and we're going to see it together. Alright, let's play.
Hey guys, what's up? Mad Season here, back with another video for you. Today we're going to talk about something that's probably happened to most everybody who's
Climb a tall tree. Dude, I love RuneScape, man. I've never played RuneScape, by the way, but I love it anyway.
played MMOs at some point. Come home from work or school, relax, launch your favorite MMO, enter the world, jump around for a little.
Wait. When he just played his favorite MMO, what did it say? Let me go back a bit. Ah, Season of Discovery, baby! Let's go! I miss Season of Discovery so much, by the way. I miss it so much. I don't know why, but I thought it said Season of Mastery first, but yeah, Season of Discovery. I miss it so much.
Enter the world, jump around for a little bit, ruminating on what you want to do, and after a couple of minutes you decide that you want to log off because it is no longer fun, and a lot of the times you don't even know why. There's just this overpowering desire to log off and do
Nightmare Incursions.
anything other than play this game that you used to love. So today,
I can list a couple. Season of Discovery alone, Nightmare Incursions, Classic WoW though as a whole, Mage Boosting, Botting, Gold Buying, RMT, GDKP, Raid Logging, never seeing anybody in the open world, all of my favorite content creators playing RuneScape.
for those who have been in that very position or are currently in it, I thought we would analyze this and answer the question just why and how MMOs become unfun.
You forgot Undead Rogues? That's a good point, yeah. That's why I stopped playing on PvP servers and went over to Thunderstrike.
A good place to start is always with the basics, and we have to ask ourselves the question, what is the core fundamental appeal that drives people to play video games? Well, they're recreational. They are fun, which can mean different things to different people. For some, it's a long questing session. For others,
You know, I think this video here is going to be great, by the way, but I'm going to start it on a somewhat sarcastic but also realistic note. What currently drives people to play video games is not playing video games, because right now people have a goal in mind and all they are doing is trying to achieve that goal in the fastest time possible. People are buying gold, then spending that gold doing mage boosting, getting to level 60, sometimes doing GDKPs, or simply buying loot inside raids, or buying legendaries. Like even now, there was a video about 2 weeks ago, I think, of people already pre-selling Atiyesh splinters from Noxramas. So even though you're playing on an anniversary, you think nobody buys raid gear with gold. I'm telling you, the splinters sold for, I think it was 3,500 gold per splinter. So 3.5k each splinter. People are still buying like things inside raids, by the way. Can tell you. So people right now, instead of playing the game, they are paying to skip the game and achieving their end goal as fast as they can.
it's an intense match in an FPS game, or maybe a mind-boggling puzzle, a thrilling horror, competitive team-based, high-end raiding, chill grinding with Netflix in the other monitor, and for the rest, it's erotic role-playing. The reasons why we play them can, of course, vary wildly. A common trait that they all share is the fact that they are optional. Think about the first time you picked one up. You didn't do so because you were going to fall behind on dailies, or your raid needed you to tank. That would, of course, be impossible because you didn't yet have a character. You most likely started purely on the principle of, hey, that looks fun. I'd like to try that. So really at the heart of all of this isn't necessarily to identify why you're no longer having fun.
The first time I played WoW, by the way, the amount of noob I was, you would never, like... I was a noob. I started playing WoW at a friend's house, and we played the game for 48 hours, where we basically played, like, he played for 4 hours, I played for 4 hours on the same PC, and we leveled, not on the same character, but like separate characters, in 48 hours of gameplay, in total, 24 hours each, we got to level 13. Like, 24 hours, and we got to level 13. Okay, bro. Okay.
Rather, it's more to identify the reasons that compel you to play other than for the fun of it. We have to first identify exactly what this pressure is that's causing you to log in. And as it turns out, there are a plethora of reasons for that, whether that be inside through game mechanics and design, or even outside to some of the more psychological aspects of what compels us to play these social, addictive MMORPGs. I think it would be best to start off with the more straightforward stuff first, starting with FOMO, or fear of missing out. Right around the turn of the 2010s, gaming, particularly MMOs, started this transformation that was largely influenced by...
This is the... dude, back in actual Cataclysm, by the way, I unironically loved these quests. I was doing these quests on 5 characters every single day, and just having the time of my life getting those marks of the world tree. Meanwhile, Cataclysm Classic, I never did these quests even once. Oh man, dude, but the Molten Front was so good the first time, and I don't know why, by the way. I just love the idea of progressing and unlocking more world quests, or like, not world quests, but more dailies as you continued progressing. So you started with like 4 dailies, then you got 6, then you got 8. It just like, you got more and more and more.
Mobile gaming. It was around this time is when they really started to surge in popularity. The games were colorful, exciting, handheld hits of dopamine on the go, no matter where you were, whether that be school, work, gym, bathroom, behind the wheel. In particular, they proved to be extremely effective in retaining players because they had one secret power, and that was the ability to grab their attention at all hours of the day because, of course, we always have our phones on us. They're like herpes, they're a constant companion. They tether us to the wonderful world of social media.
Wait. Let me go back here. 4 seconds back.
Companion. They tether...
Never mind. A couple more seconds back.
Of course, we always have our phones on us. They're like herpes. They're a constant companion. They tether us to the wonderful world of social media, as well as social contacts and addicting games. It's much easier to get our attention when we receive a ping on a device that's on hand 24/7, that a chest is ready to open, or some rewards have come in. Or...
Wait, which game is this, by the way? Anybody here who plays more mobile games than me, which game is this? Based on it saying clan and clan rewards, I'm going to guess Clash of Clans. Just based off that. I'm just going to guess it based off of that. And yes, I've never played Clash, but I have 2 real-life friends who play it a little bit too much. But still, I'm betting it's Clan. Must be.
Your daily and weekly timers have reset. And so, slowly over time,
the first game I was going to say was Raid Shadow Legends, because that's the only mobile game that I really have any connectivity to, I think.
A turtle made it to the water.
But surely it has to be Clash, right? Also, yo, thank you for the follow, by the way. I appreciate it.
They became more and more popular. Other games, namely the MMO, saw this opportunity to adopt this very effective way of retaining players. Timers. Timers upon timers upon timers. Dailies, weeklies.
Yeah.
Weeklies that are comprised of dailies. Monthlies that are comprised of weeklies. Complete these daily quests, do your daily dungeons, scratch your ass daily, holiday events, battle passes, you name it. It's all over most every genre nowadays. Developers have really discovered the power of FOMO, and in a lot of cases, the player isn't rewarded for playing as much as they are punished for not playing. But whatever the case may be, the reason to log in is no longer this pure wholesome fun of it. A new warrior has entered the ring, and it begins to dominate a significant percentage of the reason why players log in. And this is especially true.
Apparently Bronzebeard launches in 5 days. I know, I saw the video today. Well, I haven't seen the video, but I saw the video in my feed, and I saw the release date, October 3rd, apparently. I'm probably not going to play, I'm hoping to get into the Midnight Alpha, and then Legion Remix on October the 8th for EU. But it's looking good. I did look at a small part of the trailer.
True in modern times, as MMOs have become more understood and the min-max optimization culture has taken form. And this isn't to say that any and all daily or weekly timers automatically equate to a game being bad or illegitimate. I think it's pretty reasonable to say that most would agree that there are places for them, just little nudges here and there to reward for some form of consistent play, but it's when they begin to take this huge share of the pie and
I doubt you will get into the alpha. Alpha will be for bigger streamers and friends and family. What if I told you that I've been in every single alpha so far from the start? Well, since I started applying for it, of course. But we'll see, because the war within, I was in the first wave. And I could speak more about it, but I'm not going to, because I can't.
Dominate almost every corner of the game is where it starts to become an issue, as the player can feel suffocated as they're constantly bombarded with timed task after timed task before they can actually do the fun thing that they originally clicked the play button for. It's a reduction of freedom. It's the developers guiding the player down this very controlled path of do these specific things and then you'll be free, which for a lot of players encroaches on the fun part of it, as it's antithetical to one of the core fundamental traits of the genre, and that's freedom. The MMO is sort of all about being thrown into this giant world with so many different things to do, whether that be questing, dungeons, raiding, PvP, economy.
Yo, did the graphics actually look like this back in the day? There's no way, right? There's no way, right?
Grinding, professions, achievements, challenges, to name a few. It is the buffet of the world of video games where you have this huge selection of variety to choose from. So in the cases where these focused niche daily timers start to really dominate, you definitely have this loss of this sense of freedom, and you can almost feel as if you have a list of chores to go through before you can get to the fun stuff.
Dude, that is actually exactly how I feel when I play retail, by the way. It's like you have this list of chores you have to go through, and then when you're done with the chores, now you can finally play the game. I will say, over the last expansions, they have dropped the amount of chores a little bit, but it still feels like you're going through a list of daily tasks and weekly tasks until you can quote-unquote play the game in a more free way. Maybe I'm stupid here. Maybe I'm just looking at it like differently. But like you have these goals every single week you're trying to accomplish. Like, for example, doing your keystone, getting your delves, and all of the things for your vault, right? That's a weekly task. You have daily quests now you can do. You also have some weekly quests you can do. Not just some, but a massive amount as well of weekly quests. So, like, the weekly grind is huge in retail. But even in something like Mist of Pandaria, you also have daily tasks to go through. I just feel like the amount of tasks you have to go through right now that just keeps you coming back. Not because you want to, but you feel like you have to. And if you're not doing it, you feel like you're missing out.
And
it's literally fear of missing out, yeah. FOMO.
That reason, it's item number 1 on our list of things that compel you to log in other than what initially seduced you to begin with. Fun. So, continuing this logic and chasing the reasons that people log in for other than fun. Next we have addiction. It's no secret, MMOs are addictive. Probably the most addictive genre there is, right next to mobile gaming. RPG.
This right here, by the way, is exactly why I'm playing WoW so much as well. I have an extremely addictive personality, which means that I easily get addicted to things. I think that's what it means. I have no idea. But basically I get easily addicted. I'm addicted to WoW, I will say. I have been for a while.
RPGs themselves are very addicting. There's just something about constant long-form character progression that fires up our dopamine receptors. But the key here is that up until the late 90s, there was this safety measure in the fact that they ended. Eventually you go through a campaign and you have a credit screen awaiting you to tell you to do something else with your life. But now, you take the same idea and you put the player into this virtual world that's to be shared with thousands of others, and remove the ending,
Yeah.
and you now have the recipe for one of the most addicting genres of game to ever exist.
Yep.
And beyond that, with the help of the previously mentioned FOMO, they're actually designed to be addictive. They're designed to create this maladaptive dependence where players develop an almost obsessive pattern of play. Roughly 50% of players self-report and consider MMOs to be addictive, with symptoms mirroring substance abuse disorders, such as constant thoughts about the game, irritability or stress after 24 hours without playing, failed quitting attempts.
This describes me so perfectly, by the way, and a couple of friends of mine. I have like 2 friends who've quit WoW 10 times. They're just like, I'm done, I'm never coming back. Next expansion, they're back. Every single time, dude. And then you have me as well. Like, if I'm thinking about the game way too much, by the way. I sometimes dream that I'm playing WoW, and that's like, in that case, like your subconscious is thinking about WoW, even when you are sleeping.
Trust me, I know a lot about that one. And as well as using the game to escape real-life problems. This addiction stems from a potent mix of psychological principles, game design tactics, social pressure.
I gave up on giving up on WoW. There we go. That's a good way of looking at it, yeah. Just give up on giving up.
As well as individual vulnerabilities. Most people know that dopamine is the culprit, the neurotransmitter tied to pleasure and motivation. Logging in for a previously mentioned daily quest might yield a minor...
Wait, same here. I realized I had an issue when I was working night shift and listened to 9 different podcasts, and 6 of them were WoW related. To me, that actually sounds goat. That is goated as fuck, man. That is a good work shift. Good night shift.
upgrade, but the key here is that...
I didn't even know there were 6 WoW podcasts. I only really listened to PodDC, the one by Maximum for retail, and I listened to a couple of classic WoW podcasts. But apart from that, like some of the ones that I used to watch as well, they've quit. They no longer do any podcasting, which is kind of sad. There used to be more of them.
This anticipation builds tension that's only relieved by playing. Studies have indicated, as the world of social media has evolved and has collectively been overflooding our brains with this constant stream of dopamine, it's actually rewired our reward systems, and it makes real-life tasks feel dull by comparison, leaving these online virtual spaces as the only potent source left for our beloved hit. This is quite often cited for studies relating to social media, but what many people fail to realize is that MMOs are social media. I would say it's more on the media side rather than social in comparison to the standard platform.
Yeah.
But it's an online multiplayer game with communities and microcosms held within, and it's surrounded with these RPG-like characteristics to serve as its reward structure. Since it is multiplayer, progression is valued because it's relative, and developers recognize this as they often consult behavioral psychologists to optimize these loops, ensuring the grind is repetitive and as low stakes as it may seem to be.
A few years ago, when I went to the Barents Sea on a boat without access to the internet, I downloaded 20 WoW videos on YouTube because of YouTube Premium and played them all on repeat. I knew everything about Disc Priest and Dragonflight without playing it. Dude, hell yeah. That is a smart move, by the way. That is a really smart move. I did the same thing-ish one time when I was going to the cabin. Is it called the cabin? Like in the woods where we don't have internet, with my parents. And we went there during winter. I'm not a huge fan of winter activities. I'll make a snow cave and I'll go skiing for an hour. But there's 24 hours in the day. I'm sleeping for 8. I'm not going to make a snow cave and ski for 16 hours. So I did the same thing, just downloaded a bunch of WoW videos and just watched them. Not the same, but like the same principle. Ish, I guess.
Keep the players hooked without burnout. This is more common in MMOs structured around vertical progression as opposed to horizontal, but they're made to be competitive. Humans are wired for rivalry, and MMOs amplify it with leaderboards, PvP arenas, rare cosmetics, dungeon scores, raid scores, item levels, and best in slot gear that remains best in slot until the next set is released. This creates a certain amount of pressure to keep up through, once again, FOMO, as it creates this urgency out of fear of being left out of these activities if your character falls too far behind. This leads us to number 3 on our list, and that social pressure. Joining a guild is many times a commitment. It means showing up for scheduled events like boss fights and raids, or PvP fights, where your absence lets the team down, and in many cases, some even describe it as a second job. You become a critical part of your group's success, and many watching, I'm sure, can relate to being in situations where sometimes you're not really feeling it, but it's raid time and everybody needs you, so you begrudgingly click the play button. But it's not all negative. This pressure can manifest in other more wholesome ways.
Yeah, it's like sometimes, and I'm not sure if I'm proud to say this or if I am, but it's like I was sick with the flu to the point of lying in bed and not getting out of bed and just feeling like absolute human garbage, which I do anyway, but like even more of human garbage, and just did not feel like doing anything. So I called my boss, told him that I had the flu, could not come into work, but guess what I did? Like a few hours later, I did the raid. Yeah, so like I was too sick to work, but not too sick to raid. Never too sick to raid. So I sat there with like, I sat there and nobody could understand anything that I'm saying, because first of all, my accent, and also runny nose and just flu, coughing all the time. I barely had any voice to speak with anyway. But I was there, trying to raid lead. And I had a good time.
Online friends can very well become a real and integral part of somebody's social circle and support system. While there's definitely no replacement for face-to-face social interaction, this is something that many people learned with the COVID-19 lockdowns. Real bonds can be formed and friendships can be made online, and this is especially true for those who may suffer.
Dude, I'm gonna tell you right now, I made so many more real-life friends thanks to World of Warcraft during COVID. So it was a bad time for sure, but there was some light in that tunnel. I think I worked at a gym back then, right? And there were four or five other people going to that gym. There was like really strong dudes. And I was trying to somehow get in contact with them, or like, I don't know, like we didn't really say hi or anything at the gym, but it was always like we would spot each other, kind of. And after they found out that I played WoW and made content about WoW, we became way better friends, because now we had one more thing to talk about, instead of just talking about the gym stuff.
From social anxiety, which happens to be a group of people that are particularly attracted to the genre due to the casual nature of how people interact with each other. You don't walk up and shake hands, maintain eye contact, and engage in awkward small talk. You click invite, you talk in text, and the focus is often centered around the task at hand rather than the individual person. But regardless, throughout all of this, friends groups have been formed, and many people relate to the fact that while they were initially attracted to the game for its...
I'm not gonna lie though, I kinda miss the small talk in WoW, because now, whenever you look for something, group for something, you put yourself in a group finder, and people invite you, and they don't even tell you what they're inviting you for. There's no whispers, they just invite you, and if you queued up for Stratholm, Skolemans, LBRS, UBRS, you have no idea what they're inviting you for. And about 7 out of 10 times, they don't whisper you at all. 1 out of 10 times, they whisper you after like half a minute, and 2 out of 10 times, you have to whisper them, and then maybe they reply. So I kind of miss the small talk of just like, if you're inviting somebody, tell them what you're inviting them for, and maybe say hello. Like, hey, we're doing strat, do you want to join? Question mark. And then invite. Because on my warrior, for example, I was looking for groups yesterday, and I kept getting invited, but I had no idea what for, because I was looking for 8 dungeons at the same time.
gameplay. What kept them playing were the people who they played with, which certainly raises the stakes and the consequences of quitting the game if you're no longer having fun with it.
Yeah.
For many people, this is their Sunday night football party or a weekend at the bar. For many, it's become a social activity that has this consistent and valuable place in their lives, even if they grow to dislike the game itself. I like to make the comparison of beer. By itself, it might taste like urine, but it does taste a little bit better if you enjoy it with friends. And it can be just as addictive, even if you don't enjoy the actual beer. And for those who are in this position, it becomes more of a means to an end. Is the platform.
But what if you enjoy the beer itself, but you don't enjoy or you don't like the people that made the beer? Because for me, it's like, I like playing WoW, I like classic WoW, but I absolutely despise what Blizzard is doing with the whole IP right now, and I don't like the way they're communicating. That is my problem here. I love the game, I don't like the developers. That's just where I am.
For which they obtain something more valuable to them. This too is something that developers are very well aware of, and some have even built their entire game around it. Some of you might be familiar with Star Wars Galaxies, which held an economy and item system that was entirely player-driven. You had combat roles that got crafting materials, they would trade it to crafters, who would then turn them into weapons and armor for the combat professions to this time get resources for cooks to sell back to them for buff food, or resources to create doctor buffs.
Did he say he enjoys urine with friends? I spaced out. I mean, basically, he used a different word, but I think it was the same meaning, yeah. He said beer. So like alcohol with friends. But I think it's the same thing.
Which were required for the endgame. And then the doctors would then spend this money on a stripper to gain more buffs. Yeah, seriously. This model was called the weak tie interdependence system, where people you may not even know were necessary for your survival, and it was designed around the purpose of forcing interaction and cooperation and creating these online tight-knit communities. They wanted it such that if you were thinking of quitting, you weren't just leaving behind a silly video game. You were leaving behind a community who needed and valued you. Next, and we briefly mentioned this earlier, but we also have the fact that people use it as an escape. So now that we have this understanding of their heavy social nature and just how much it can influence players on a community and individual level, these aren't just virtual worlds. They're virtual online ecosystems with communities. There's an MMO called Second Life, which is a very appropriate name because due to their time-consuming nature, for many, the MMO is their second life. Although they aren't immune to change, they're certainly less volatile than the unpredictability of life. They become a comfort activity that serves as this escape from the unknown and the seriousness of real life and all of its stresses, to where no matter what's going on, you can always farm some mud crabs outside of Relica for some strength XP. This is certainly a double-edged blade that can be good or bad, depending on an individual basis, how much self-control that person has, and if they use them as more of a place to destructively run away, as opposed to perhaps a more constructive temporary respite to gather their breath and thoughts before they tackle whatever it is that they are temporarily escaping from. Humans love routine, and for many, even if they don't particularly enjoy it even, partly because the previously mentioned dynamics like FOMO, which gets you to log in every day, it's still become this daily substantial part of their routine. And even if it's no longer really that much fun, they continue to play it because to remove it from their routine after such a long amount of time would be quite jarring, especially if they don't have anything else to fill in the void that's left behind. And beyond this, there's also a power struggle aspect to it. Again, this is something that's been studied in the world of social media, but also applies to MMOs, especially in terms of power, where you may feel overwhelmed from the stresses of life. MMOs let you embody this powerful avatar, lead raids, amass wealth, and to be the best at something, or at least to be more than what it is possible in your mundane personal life. And last on our list, finishing off again with a more psychological reason, we have the sunk cost fallacy. This is often referenced in the world.
Can somebody explain to me, by the way, because in so many Mount Season videos I see him doing exactly what he's doing now, in basically the exact same place. Is this parkour, but in RuneScape? And if so, like, why do you do it? Like, why do you just jump roofs and climb trees?
World of gambling. Player loses $100 in a game of blackjack. Well, he's got to keep playing to earn it back. I've already lost $100. What's 100 more? Maybe I can win it back. Until, of course, because the game is skewed mathematically towards the house, that 100 eventually becomes 500, 1,000, 2,000, so on. And for the MMO, while the money investment is rather tame compared to many hobbies, what's really at stake is time. It is by far the most time-consuming genre of any game. Not only
Agility training, I guess, but no clue what it gives stat-wise. Agility training is a skill in RuneScape for fun. So you do that to actually train agility.
are the activities themselves time-consuming, such as leveling and raiding, achievement hunting, or any of the 100 things that you can do. They are also, of course, without end, as the game is constantly updated and more obstacles to overcome are constantly being added. The MMO first gained mainstream popularity with the rise of World of Warcraft in 2004, which means we just passed the 2-decade mark since the breakout of the genre, and many people have been playing for all of those 20 years. So we have thousands of hours or even thousands of days of time and energy and memories sunk into just one single game. And you can see how this loops back to addiction, because this situation is created where quitting means essentially relinquishing a 20-year investment. It's not to say that they necessarily wasted the past 20 years of their life, of course. For some people, it's all about the journey, and the memories made along the way are worth it. But for the less abstract, motivated people, it can feel as if their time could have been better spent elsewhere, especially if they have grown to dislike the game that they're playing. However, quitting would force them to confront that uncomfortable reality, and so they just never quit, even if the enjoyment and fun has long left them. So, FOMO, addiction, social pressure, escapism, sunk cost fallacy. If you remember, the goal of this video was to identify the reasons why you log in that aren't fun, and these are just a few of the many, although I would say that they are the most common. It's a very complicated situation that's highly dependent on each individual person. At the end of the day, you just have to remember what initially drew you to it to begin with, and that's just to have fun. If you find this word falling lower and lower on your priority list of why you play, that's when it's time for a break. Forcing it eventually leads to burnout 9 times out of 10. I've rarely seen people try to tough through it and they just magically start enjoying it again. I personally have taken many breaks in my time. I've picked up other hobbies and focused my efforts elsewhere, and by doing that, all of these other pressures begin to fade. And
yeah, I will say, by the way, for me, whenever I started to feel a burnout, taking a break does a massive, it really helps. It helps massively. And even for me, if I'm about to burn out from Classic, playing World of Warcraft retail is a way to avoid that burnout, because retail just is a whole different game, and even Mists of Pandaria as well. So like, I took a massive break from Mists of Pandaria 1 month ago, and now I'm kind of itching to play again. Unironically, just do some Celestials or something. Just taking a small break, taking a step back, and doing something else helps a lot. Back in January of this year as well, I took a 1.5 month break from WoW, where I didn't even play WoW for 1.5 months, and all I did was play Palworld all the time, focus on the gym, focus on real life, and yeah, it really helped. Like, when I came back after 1.5 months, I was so ready to just absolutely game. Because then I had not played for 1.5 months, so gaming again and playing WoW just felt different. I mean, I would even say I was on a 2-month break, because my Palworld gameplay started in December. The update came in December, so I played Palworld from December until February.
the fun part begins to once more climb the rankings of what influences me to play, until eventually I decide that I want to play it again. if you do find yourself in this position of playing them, even if they aren't fun, you've probably gathered that the solution lies in once more making it optional, to remove all obligations and pressures other than fun as your reasons to play it. Usually that involves just walking away from it, and it might take some time, depending on your level of burnout. For some people it's a week, for others it's months, years, and some never come back, and that's fine. Don't pressure yourself to play. Don't let the developers pressure you into playing with their various addiction-fueled design choices, and really just play when you feel like it. Play when you think to yourself, hey, you know what? That sounds like fun, which, again, is the entire point of video games to begin with. But with that being said, I hope that you found this video fun or helpful. Like it if you liked it, because I will see you in the next one. Peace.
That right there was a really good video by Madseason, by the way, and what he said at the end there is something that I really want to echo. If you don't feel like playing WoW, don't play WoW. For me right now as well, I only play WoW when I want to play WoW, and I'm trying to only really play WoW during the stream times to kind of restrict myself, because I know if I play WoW 12 hours a day right now when there's nothing really happening, in Anniversary, like TBC pre-patch is nowhere to be seen, TBC, like, the classic WoW dev team hasn't talked about this at all, and to me, I'm not super hyped for Phase 6, I'm just in a TBC waiting room right now, so instead of burning myself out while waiting for TBC, I'm just gonna play the game slightly less. So for me right now, I'm playing the game for about 4 hours every single day, and even that could be a little bit much sometimes. But hey, I'm having fun every moment that I'm playing right now. Either way, good video by Madseason.